I never thought I'd hear my father's voice crack like that on the phone. Not after all these years of silence. Daniel, come home for Christmas. Please. It's been too long. The words hung there, heavy as the snow piling up outside my Chicago apartment. But it wasn't the plea that gutted me. It was the lie I could already taste in it. Bitter as the rejection that had chased me out of that house a decade ago. My hand trembled as I set the receiver down, staring at the faded family photo on my shelf. The one where we're all smiling at the lake house, oblivious to the storm brewing. Home. That word felt like a trap, sprung just when I finally built walls high enough to keep the hurt out. But damn it, a part of me, the stupid, hopeful part, whispered that maybe, just maybe, they'd changed. Or maybe I had. The wind howled off Lake Michigan like it had a personal grudge, slicing through my coat as I dragged my suitcase toward the Amtrak station. Chicago in December was a beast, all gray skies and relentless cold, but it suited me these days. I'd carved out a life here that didn't ache every time I breathed, a steady job as a graphic designer for a nonprofit, friends who actually showed up, and Liam, who made the world feel less like a battlefield. Liam. God, even thinking his name steadied me. We'd met 2 years ago at a queer art exhibit downtown. Him sketching furiously in the corner while I pretended to critique the installations to hide how mesmerized I was by his focus. Tall, with that mop of chestnut hair that fell into his eyes and a laugh that could melt steel. He was the kind of guy who made you believe in second chances without even trying. You're overthinking it. Dan, he'd said last night, his fingers tracing lazy circles on my back as we lay tangled in the sheets. Families evolve. Or they don't. But you get to choose how much space they take up in your head. Evolve. Yeah, right. My family hadn't evolved. They just hit pause on their disappointment until it was convenient to hit play again. I could still picture the night it all shattered. 18 and terrified, blurting out the truth over Thanksgiving turkey in our stuffy suburban dining room in upstate New York. Mom's fork clattering to her plate. Dad's face turning the color of ash. This isn't us. Daniel. This isn't Christian. Fix it, or get out. My older brother, Ethan, just staring at his pie like it held the secrets to the universe, saying nothing. I packed a bag by dawn and hitched to the city, vowing never to look back. 10 years. A decade of postcards at Christmas that went unanswered. Birthdays marked only by the echo of silence. And now this olive branch, extended via a curt voicemail from Dad. Your mother's not well. We need to talk. Come home. Need to talk. As if words could erase the exile. The train rattled into Penn Station 5 hours later. The holiday chaos swallowing me whole. Families lugging trees. Kids squealing over lights. The air thick with pine and cinnamon. I rented a car at the Hertz desk. The clerk's forced cheer grating against my nerves. Heading home for the holidays? Lucky guy. Lucky. If only. The drive up I-87 was a blur of sodium-lit highways and skeletal trees dusted in frost. By the time I pulled into the driveway of the old Colonial on Elm Street, night had fallen like a curtain. The house aglow with the same tacky icicle lights Mom had strung up every year since I was a kid. My stomach twisted as I killed the engine. The porch light flickered on, and there she was, Mom, frilier than I remembered. Her cardigan hanging loose on shoulders that used to carry the weight of PDA bake sales and church potlucks. Daniel, she breathed, pulling me into a hug that smelled of lavender and regret. Or maybe that was just wishful thinking. Inside, the house was a time capsule, the same plaid couch, the mantel cluttered with nativity scenes and framed photos that stopped at my high school graduation. Dad emerged from the kitchen, wiping his hands on a dish towel. His once broad frame stooped now, eyes avoiding mine. Good to see you. Son. Son. The word landed like a punch. Ethan was there too, lounging at the kitchen table with a beer. His wife, Sarah, bustling around with their two kids, little blurs of energy named Mia and Noah. Uncle Danny, they shrieked, tackling my legs. I scooped them up, forcing a grin, but Ethan's gaze over their heads was wary, like he was sizing up a stranger. We hadn't spoken since that night. Not really. He'd sent a half-assed apology email once, years ago, but it was buried under layers of I didn't know what to do excuses. Dinner was roast beef and Yorkshire puddings. The conversation skating on thin ice, weather, the kids' school plays, how Dad's hardware store was holding steady despite the economy. Mom kept refilling my wine glass. Her smile's brittle. We've missed you. Daniel, tell us about your life. That job in the city sounds fancy. It's good, I said, dodging. Helping queer youth with art programs. Keeps me busy. The table went quiet for a beat. Forks scraping plates. Ethan's jaw tightened. Sarah shot him a look. Dad cleared his throat. Noble work. Pass the gravy. That night, I crashed in my old room. The twin bed creaking under me. Posters of Nirvana and the Buffalo Bills faded to ghosts on the walls. Sleep wouldn't come. Instead, memories crashed in waves. Sneaking kisses with my first boyfriend behind the high school bleachers. The terror of Dad finding out. The way Mom had whispered, "Pray on it. Honey, God can change this. Change this." As if I were a broken appliance. My phone buzzed at midnight. Liam. His face lighting up the screen in a selfie from our bed back home. Looking adorably rumpled. Miss you already. Kids behaving? Send pics. I snapped a quick shot of the Snowglow Village on my dresser, captioning it Surviving Suburbia. His reply pinged back. You're brave as hell. Love you. Call if it gets weird. Love you. Those words anchored me. A lifeline in the dark. The next morning, Christmas Eve, dawned brittle and bright. We bundled up for the town square tree lighting, the air crisp with wood smoke and anticipation. Elmwood was the postcard version of small-town America, red brick shops trimmed in garland, carolers in mittens, the local diner slinging hot cocoa. As we strolled arm in arm, Mom clinging to Dad, Ethan herding the kids, I felt eyes on me, whispers trailing like smoke. Mrs. Hargrove from church waved stiffly. Old Mister. Patel from the corner store nodded, but his smile didn't reach his eyes. Elmwood hadn't forgotten the family scandal, and neither had I. At the square, strings of lights twinkled to life against the dusk, illuminating the massive spruce hauled in from the Adirondacks. The mayor droned on about community and joy, but my mind wandered to Liam, how we decorated our tiny apartment last week. Him balancing precariously on a chair to hang mistletoe, declaring it strategically placed for maximum smooches. The thought warmed me until Mom tugged my sleeve. Daniel, walk with me. I need to talk. We slipped away to a bench under the gazebo, snowflakes dusting her graying hair. Her hands twisted in her lap, knuckles white. Your father's sick. Danny. Prostate cancer. Stage 3. The treatments. They're expensive. Insurance barely covers it. My breath caught. Sick. The word she'd used on the phone about herself, it was a smokescreen. Why didn't you just say that? She looked away, toward the families laughing under the lights. We didn't want pity, but the store's struggling. And Ethan. Well, with the kids and Sarah's maternity leave coming up. Maternity leave. Another grandkid on the way. The pieces clicked. The invitation wasn't reconciliation. It was a Hail Mary for cash. I'd clawed my way to stability in Chicago, socked away savings from freelance gigs. But this This was them dipping back into the well they'd poisoned. Mom, please, she cut in, eyes glistening. Just think about it. For family. Family. The words sour in my mouth. I nodded numbly, watching the carolers belt out Silent Night, as if the world weren't fracturing beneath the holiday cheer. Back home, the kids' excitement over Santa's impending arrival was a merciful distraction. I helped Mia string popcorn garlands, Noah chattering about reindeer logistics, while Ethan hovered in the doorway, beer in hand. Hey, man, he finally said, voice low. About back then. I should have said something. Stood up. I was scared shitless. You know, of Dad flipping out on me too. Scared, I echoed, threading needle through kernel. Yeah, me too. It wasn't forgiveness. Not yet, but it cracked the door. Or maybe I was just desperate for any scrap of humanity in this house. That evening, as we trimmed the tree, Dad pulled me aside in the garage, the air thick with the scent of sawdust and motor oil. Your mother's right. We're in a bind. But it's more than money. Son, I regret how I handled things. The Bible says a lot, but it doesn't say squat about losing your boy. His voice broke, and for the first time, I saw the man behind the sermons, the fear, the love twisted into something ugly. I wanted to rage, to demand why it took cancer to unearth this. Instead, I hugged him, the embrace awkward and overdue. We'll figure it out, Dad. Somehow, lying in bed later, phone in hand, I poured it all out in a voice memo to Liam. The lie, the ask, the fragile thaw. His call came through seconds later. Babe, that's fucked up. But you're there, and that's huge. What do you need? You? I whispered. Just you. Christmas morning brought forced merriment, wrapping paper carnage, cinnamon rolls sticky on the counter, the kids shrieking over dolls and trucks. I played along, feigning delight at the wool sweater Mom knitted, itchy as unresolved grief. Under the tree, my gift to them was a donation check for the medical fund. $5,000 that stung like frostbite. Dad's eyes welled up. Mom squeezed my hand. Ethan clapped my back, murmuring thanks. But as the day wore on, the cracks widened. Sarah pulled me into the kitchen during pie. Her voice hushed. Ethan's not telling you everything. The store? It's leveraged to hell because of his bad investments. Gambling. Dan. Online poker. He's in deep debts to some shady guys in Albany. My fork froze midway to my mouth. Gambling. The golden boy. The one who'd stayed and played perfect son. Unraveling in secret. Why tell me? I asked, pulse thundering. Because you're the successful one now. And because I know what they did to you. It wasn't right. Ethan's trying to make amends, but he's drowning too. Drowning. The word echoed as I stepped out onto the porch for air, the snow falling thick and silent. Lights from neighbors' houses twinkled like distant stars, mocking the isolation gnawing at me. My phone buzzed Liam again, a photo of our tree, solitary ornaments gleaming. Holding down the fort. Were you back? I need my elf. Elf. The normalcy of it nearly broke me. I dialed him, voice cracking as I spilled Sarah's revelation. It's all a house of cards. Liam. They're not sorry. They're desperate. Then walk away, he said softly. No judgment. But if you stay, do it for you. Not them. For me. The idea lodged like a splinter as I hung up, staring at the footprints I'd leave in the snow, temporary marks on a world that kept turning. The day after Christmas, what folks around here call Boxing Day, but really just an excuse for leftovers and regret, hit like a hangover. The house sagged under the weight of torn paper and unspoken debts, the tree shedding needles like tears, I woke to the sound of Mia and Noah thundering downstairs, their laughter a thin veil over the tension humming in the walls. Down in the kitchen, Mom was at the stove, flipping pancakes with mechanical precision, her smile as flat as the griddle. Sleep well, honey? Big day. Ethan's got plans for us all. Plans. The word set my teeth on edge. Ethan breezed in then, hair slicked back, wearing that salesman grin he'd honed at the store. Dan, up for a drive? Show you the new mill expansion. Folks love to see you. Folks. The mill workers who'd whispered behind my back in high school. The ones who'd crossed the street when I walked by after the big reveal. Nostalgia curdled in my gut, but I nodded curiosity, or masochism, winning out. Dad stayed behind with Mom, citing fatigue, his cough rattling like loose change in his chest. As Ethan and I piled into his battered Ford F-150, Sarah waved from the door, her eyes pleading, "Don't let him bullshit you." The drive out to the edge of town wound through pine thickets and frozen fields. The radio crooning Merle Haggard about mamas and hard times. Ethan drummed the wheel, filling the silence with small talk, how Noah was a natural at hockey, how Sarah's pregnancy was textbook smooth. Smooth, I snorted. Unlike the rest of this, he shot me a sideways glance, jaw working. Look, Dan. About Sarah spilling the beans. It's not as bad as it sounds. Just a rough patch. The store's collateral. Sure, but one good season. Gambling. Ethan? Really? The words burst out, sharper than I'd intended. The truck swerved slightly. He righted it, face flushing. It's not. I mean, yeah, I got it over my head. Stress. You know, Dad's health. The baby. But I'm handling it. These guys, they're reasonable. Just need a bridge loan till spring. Reasonable. The delusion hung there, thick as exhaust. And you thought inviting me back was the fix? Using Christmas like bait, he pulled over at a scenic overlook. The valley below blanketed in white. Elmwood a cluster of rooftops in the distance. It wasn't like that. Not entirely. Mom really does miss you. We all do. But yeah, the money. It's part of it. You're doing well. Dan. City life suits you. Help a brother out, brother. The plea twisted something deep, a mix of pity and fury. This was Ethan, the one who'd shared bunk beds with me, who'd covered for my late-night escapes to the arcade, who'd promised we'd conquer the world together. But he'd chosen silence that Thanksgiving, letting Dad's thunder roll unchecked. You let them throw me out. 10 years. And your first move is a guilt trip for cash. His eyes glistened, hands gripping the dash. I was 22. Man. Fresh out of community college. Terrified of losing the family business. The house. Everything. Dad was. Dad. You know how he gets. But I've changed. Therapy. Even. Church groups got a program for addictions. Therapy. Church. The irony burned. Good for you. But don't drag me into your mess. I came because Mom asked. Because part of me hoped we'd fix this. Not to play ATM. We sat there, engine idling, the silence louder than any argument. Finally, he sighed. Fair. But think about it. For old time's sake, old times. As we drove on, the mill loomed, a hulking relic of Elmwood's logging heyday. Smokestacks piercing the sky like accusations. Inside, the air was damp and resinous. Saws whining in the distance. The foreman, Big Mike, barrel-chested and booming, clapped me on the back. Danny boy, heard you were queer as a $3 bill. Welcome back. His laugh echoed, but landed wrong. The crew's chuckles forced. Tolerance in small-town America, better than pitchforks, but still laced with condescension. Ethan gave the tour, rattling off stats on output and sustainability upgrades. But I barely heard. My mind churned. Should I wire the money? Cut ties for good? Call Liam and beg for an early extraction? By lunch, wolf down at the Greasy Spoon across the street. I decided, one more night, then out. Closure, or at least a clean break. Back home, the afternoon blurred into domestic ritual, helping Mom sort holiday cards, fielding calls from aunts inquiring about the prodigal son's return. Dad napped in his recliner, the TV murmuring Fox News pundits decrying woke agendas. I slipped upstairs for a breather, dialing Liam on the video app. His face filled the screen, flour dusted from baking, our tradition of gingerbread men, lopsided and loved. Trees drooping without you, he teased, holding up a cookie with eye stabs. How's the prodigal act going? I filled him in on the mill. Ethan's confession, the creeping sense of being pawed over like a lottery ticket. It's like they're sorry, but only insofar as it serves them. And I hate that I'm even considering helping. Liam's brow furrowed, that empathetic crease I adored. Because you're a good guy, Dan. But goodness doesn't mean getting used. Set boundaries. Or hell, send what you can and ghost your call. Boundaries. The concept felt foreign in this house, where love came with strings. We talked until the light faded. His voice a bomb, promising airport pickup and the mother of all debrief fucks. Wait, no, debrief cuddles. Keeping it PG for the fam. I laughed, the sound startling in the quiet room. Deal. Home tomorrow. Dinner that night was pot roast, the table laced with undercurrents. Sarah kept the kids occupied with stories, but her glances at Ethan were loaded. Halfway through, Dad's fork clattered, his face ashen, hand pressing his side. Just indigestion, he grunted, but Mom's eyes widened in panic. John, let's get you lying down. She bustled him away, leaving Ethan and me staring at cooling plates. See, Ethan muttered. It's real. All of it. Real. By bedtime, Dad was stable, but the doctor's call confirmed chemo starting post-New Year's. More bills. More burdens. I tossed in the dark. Ghosts of arguments passed, whispering doubts. What if helping fixed us? What if it didn't? New Year's Eve dawned with a deceptive calm. The town gearing up for the ball drop at the VFW hall. Mom insisted on the whole family going tradition. So we dressed up, me in a button-down that felt like armor, Ethan in his best flannel. The hall was a riot of balloons and beer. Polka band thumping out Auld Lang Syne early. Neighbors clapped me on the back, their welcomes laced with curiosity. Heard you're in advertising now? Big city treating you right, right? As if my queerness were a footnote to my tax bracket. I nursed a soda, scanning for exits, when Ethan cornered me by the punch bowl. Dan, about the loan, I've got a plan. Flip some timber lots. Pay it back double. Just need seed money. Seed money. The audacity ignited something feral. No. F. I'm not bankrolling your bad habits. Get a real job. Or counseling that actually sticks. His face crumpled, then hardened. Fine. Be that way. But blood's thicker than whatever rainbow bullshit you've got going in Chicago. Rainbow bullshit. The slur hit like a slap, echoing Dad's old rants. I stormed out, cold air slapping sense into me, fumbling for my phone. Liam answered on the first ring. Babe, what's wrong? Everything, I choked. I can't do this. Book me the earliest train. You got it. I'm proud of you. Proud. The word propelled me back inside for coats, but not before overhearing Sarah in the hall. Voice rising, Ethan, if you don't come clean about the threats, the call from those lenders, I'm taking the kids and going to my sister's. Threats. Calls. The plot thickened, rotten at the core. We drove home in silence, fireworks popping prematurely in the distance. At midnight, as cheers erupted on TV, Dad raised a glass from his chair. To family, the toast rang hollow, but I clinked anyway, the champagne bitter. That night, secrets unraveled like cheap tinsel. Ethan confessed in the garage over black coffee. The debts weren't just poker, loans from Albany crew tied to the mob. Protection, money for the store's side hustles, fencing knockoff tools. He'd admitted sheepishly, "They know about you coming back. Think you're loaded." Called yesterday, asking if you'd settle up for old times. Settle up. As if my existence were a debt. Fury boiled over. "You used me as leverage?" Told them I was the rich gay uncle to buy time. I didn't mean, but the lie died on his lips. I grabbed my bag, storming upstairs past Mom's worry, Danny. In my room, Liam's text glowed. Ticket confirmed. 10 a.m. tomorrow. Love conquers all that shit. Love. It was the only truth left. The train station at dawn was a ghost town. Fog rolling off the tracks like unspoken apologies. I hugged Mom goodbye on the platform. Her embrace fierce. Tears streaking her coat. "Don't be a stranger. Danny. We love you." Really, love? The word she'd wielded like a weapon once. Now a plea. Dad waited in the car. Waving weakly, Ethan stood apart. Hands shoved in pockets. Sarah murmuring something about talking sense into him. The kids pressed drawings into my hands. Mia's reindeer with wonky antlers. Noah's stick figure family, including a lopsided Uncle Dan with a Chicago skyline hat. As the train lurched south, the Hudson Valley unspooling in gray ribbons. Relief warred with grief. I'd wired $2,000 in the end, not enough to fix, but enough to salve my conscience. Ethan's mess is to drown in. But the ache lingered, a bruise on the soul. Family wasn't a Hallmark card. It was this messy knot of need and neglect, pulling tighter the harder you tugged. Back in Chicago, Liam was there at Union Station, arms open, smelling of coffee and home. He didn't pry at first, just drove us to our walk-up in Andersonville. The streets alive with post-holiday bustle, hungover joggers, shops hawking clearance ornaments. Inside, he brewed tea while I unpacked. The familiar clutter of our life, his sketchbooks piled on the coffee table, my design boards pinned to the wall, wrapping around me like a quilt. "Spill," he said finally, settling beside me on the couch, our knees touching. I did, hours pouring out in fits and starts, the fake invite, the cancer lie, Ethan's debts, the mob whispers. Liam listened, his hand steady on mine, anger flashing in his eyes at the betrayals. "That's not family. That's a goddamn ambush. You did right. Walking. But doubt not. What if I could have saved them? What if this is on me for leaving?" He cupped my face, thumbs brushing my cheeks. "Hey, you didn't leave. They pushed. And saving them means nothing if it costs you. You're enough. Dan. Just you. Just me." The simplicity undid me. Tears hot and unbidden. We stayed like that till dusk, him holding space as the city hummed outside. That night, we walked to our favorite dive bar, the one with the rainbow flag out front and karaoke on Wednesdays. Over IPAs, I introduced him properly to my ghosts, not as baggage, but stories. He shared his own, disowned by his Texas rancher dad at 16, couch surfing to art school in New York before landing here. Holidays were always the worst, he admitted. Till you. Till me. The bar's jukebox kicked in with Springsteen. Thunder Road, and we swayed in the corner, bodies close, the world fading to a hum. It was romantic in that gritty Chicago way. No fireworks. Just the quiet promise of us against the odds. January thawed into routine, but Elmwood's shadow lingered. A week later, Mom called while I was mocking up flyers for a youth center gala. Danny, Ethan's gone. Packed up last night. Said he needed space to fix things. Sarah's a wreck. The lenders called again. Threats about the house. Gone. The word hollowed me out. Mom, you have to go to the cops. Or a lawyer. This isn't on me anymore. I know. But pray for him. For us. Pray. The old reflex kicked in, but I swallowed it. Call me anytime. But boundaries. Mom. Real ones. She hung up sobbing, and I sat there, staring at my screen. The gala theme, bridges, not walls, mocking me. Liam found me like that, curling behind me on the floor. Your brother's an idiot, but you're not his keeper. Keeper. No, but blood called, insistent as a tide. Days blurred, work deadlines, therapy sessions, mine, recommitted after the trip, date nights with Liam at the Art Institute, losing ourselves in Monet's and whispered plans for a spring road trip to the Finger Lakes. Yet guilt simmered, bubbling up in dreams of that frozen driveway. Ethan's truck vanishing into the night. Mid-February, a package arrived, unmarked, postmarked Albany. Inside, a crumpled photo of me and Liam from our holiday tree trimming, printed from my Instagram, public, stupidly. Scrawled on the back, pay up, or pretty boys next. My blood iced. Mob muscle, flexing from afar. I showed Liam, his face paling. Police. Now, the detective at the 18th precinct was a no-nonsense woman named Reyes, badge gleaming under fluorescence. Stalking tied to extortion? Serious. But without direct threats or your brother's involvement confirmed. She took statements, photos, promised patrols, but her eyes said what her words didn't. Small fish in a big pond. That night, fear coiled tight. Liam insisted on staying over, though we practically lived together anyway, his presence a shield. We cooked pasta in tense silence, then talked till 3 a.m. About futures, adoption maybe, someday, a cabin up north for weekends. We're building our own family, he said, fingers laced with mine. Fuck the bloodlines. Fuck bloodlines. The vow steadied me, but sleep evaded, shadows lengthening. March brought crocuses pushing through sidewalk cracks, a metaphor I clung to. Ethan's trail went cold, rumors via mom of him crashing with buddies in Syracuse. Dodging calls. The threats quieted, Reyes chalking it to heat from our end, but paranoia lingered. I changed my socials to private, installed a ring cam, jumped at doorbells. Then, the call came on a rainy Thursday. My phone buzzing during a client pitch. Unknown number. Danny? It's me. Ethan's voice. Ragged. Edged with static. Don't hang up. I'm in trouble. Real trouble. Where? I barked. Heart slamming. A motel off I-90. These guys. They know about you. Want $50K. Or they go after Sarah and the kids. Please. Bro. I fucked up bad. Fucked up. The understatement of a century. Liam, overhearing from the kitchen, shook his head furiously. But something, stupid loyalty, or the echo of bunk bed promises, made me grab keys. Send location. I'm coming. The drive east was a nightmare of wipers and white knuckles. Liam in the passenger seat, protesting. This is suicide. Dan. Let the cops handle it. Cops won't get there fast enough. And the kids. The excuse rang hollow, but the pull was visceral. The motel was a flea bag off the thruway. Neon sign flickering vacancy like a bad omen. Ethan waited in the lot, gaunt and unshaven, flannel torn at the cuff. He hugged me fiercely, mumbling thanks, but his eyes darted, nervous, calculating. Inside the dim room, he spilled. The debts snowballed from poker to investments in a chop shop. The crew fronted by a guy named Vito, old-school enforcer with ties to the five families. They tail me from Elmwood. Saw your photo on Mom's fridge. Thought you were loaded. Loaded. The absurdity choked me. How much to square it? 50. But if you front, I swear. No. The word sliced clean. You turn yourself in. Testify. Get protection for Sarah. The family. His face twisted. Fear. Shame. Defiance. You don't get it. These aren't choir boys. They'll kill us all. Then fight. F. Like I did when you let Dad run me out. The silence stretched, broken only by the AC's rattle. Finally, he nodded. Broken. Okay. For the kids. Relief flooded. Tentative. We drove back in convoy. Liam's silence a storm cloud. At a diner pit stop, Ethan bought coffees, his hand shaking as he slid a napkin across. Thanks, Dan, for not giving up. Not giving up. As dawn broke over the city, I wondered if forgiveness was a bridge or a noose. But Liam's grip on the wheel said otherwise. This ends now. Or we do. Spring unfurled in fits and starts. Cherry blossoms battling April showers, mirroring the tentative peace in our lives. Ethan turned state's evidence that week. Holed up in a safe house upstate with Sarah and the kids. Federal handlers promising witness protection if it stuck. Mom and Dad sold the house, too many ghosts. She said, relocating to a condo near my aunt in Rochester. The check from a sale cleared my loan with interest. But the real payoff was the calls, weekly check-ins. No ass attached. We see you. Danny, Mom said once. Voice soft. All of you. All of me. The acceptance. Hard-won and halting. Felt like sunlight after eclipse. Dad even mailed a book, Rivers Cuomo's memoir, with a note. Heard you liked Weezer back in the day. Proud of your path. Son. Proud. It wasn't effusive, but in Elmwood speak. It was a sonnet. Liam and I navigated the fallout like tightrope walkers. The threats evaporated with Vito's arrest. Headlines splashed across the trib. Chop shop kingpin busted in Albany sting. Reyes called to confirm. Your brother's intel was gold. You did good. Kid, good. But the scare had etched lines on us, deepening the intimacy. We started couples counseling, not because we were broken, but because we'd stared down the abyss together and wanted to build stronger. Summer hummed in. Lake days at Oak Street Beach. Liam's sketches capturing the skyline's gleam. My designs winning a local award for the youth center. One sticky July evening. Post-rooftop barbecue with friends. A mix of queer activists and straight allies. Laughter loud over skyline fireworks. We collapse on our fire escape. Feet tangled. City lights winking below. Marry me, Liam murmured. Casual as breathing, but his eyes held galaxies. My heart stuttered. Thought you'd never ask. We eloped in September. A quiet ceremony at the Lincoln Park Conservatory. Vines and vows. Just us. A officiant named Jordan. And a photographer capturing the way Liam's hand trembled in mine. No family from Elmwood. But Mom sent orchids and a card. Love is love. Be happy. Ethan zoomed in from witness limbo. Kids waving wildly. Sarah tearing up. It was enough. More than enough. Fall painted the city gold. But October brought a shadow. Dad's chemo faltered. Tumors stubborn. Mom's voice on the line was steel wrapped in fragility. He wants to see you, Danny. Before. If. The word propelled me east again. Liam insisting on coming. The flight to Buffalo was turbulent, mirroring my gut. At the hospital in Rochester, Dad lay pale against starched sheets, monitors beeping a somber rhythm. Mom hovered, Ethan and Sarah in the waiting room with the kids, now 3 strong with baby Lily's arrival. Son, Dad's grip was weak but warm. Brought the bow. Huh, good man. Liam hung back, respectful, but Dad beckoned him closer. Take care of him. He's got a habit of carrying the world. Leah nodded, throat working. Always. We talked then, really talked. About that Thanksgiving, Dad's fear of losing me to the devil's path, his own buried doubts from seminary days. Whispers of attraction he'd prayed away. I was wrong. Danny, raised you to hate what scared me. But seeing you now, with him, it's beautiful. Forgive an old fool. Forgive. The dam broke, tears mingling with his. Already did. Dad. Long ago, Mom joined, her hand on his. Ethan's family filtering in for a makeshift vigil. Stories flowed. Childhood Christmases sledding on the hill. Ethan's first deer hunt gone comically wrong. My high school art show where Dad had secretly bought every piece. Laughter pierced the grief, humanizing the man in the bed. Dad passed at dawn 2 days later. The room bathed in rose light. His last breath a sigh of release. The funeral was Methodist, hymns soaring, eulogies laced with his quiet generosities, the soup kitchen runs. The scholarships for kids like Danny. Starting over. I spoke, voice steady. He taught me family isn't perfect, but it's worth the fight. Back in Chicago, winter crept in gentle. First snow dusting the parks like forgiveness. Liam and I hosted our first Christmas, tree strung with lights we'd bought together. Table set for friends and a video call to Mom. Ethan, the grandkids. No ambushes, just eggnog and carols. Liam's arm around me as we toasted to us. But the real gift came New Year's. A letter from Ethan, forwarded from protection. Thanks for pulling me from the brink. Bro, we're in Oregon now. New names, new start. Lily says Uncle Dan's her hero. Love you. Always, always. The word closed the circle. Not neat, but whole. Lying in bed that night, Liam's head on my chest. I traced the scars, mine from exile, his from ranches and regrets. We made it, I whispered. He smiled against my skin. Yeah, and it's just the beginning. Outside, the city breathed, alive with possibility. Home wasn't a place anymore. It was this, us. Resilient. Remade. In the end, love didn't conquer by force. It endured. Quiet and fierce. Turning rejection to redemption. One heart, one step at a time.